in the classes that are singly females. Such conditions may not be there in open classes where there are males, like in masajid, because the women used to attend the salah with the Prophet Muhammad, and they will stay at the back and listen to what the men are saying, what the Prophet ﷺ is telling the women. But aside that, when the classes are for women alone, it should be behind the veil, by way of protecting the man and by way of following the sunnah to alayhi salatu wasalam, of the messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. So these are the basic rules regarding a man teaching women. But in privacy, ulama prohibits that a man sits in a private to teach the woman, especially Quran, generally, and what still Quran. They warn against it. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, he has an author on that. He warned that if you give me 10,000 golden coins, which will worth over 10 million today, I am sure I will preserve it. But don't put a lady near me and tell me to teach her. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, amongst the Tabi'in, Bal Sayyidu Tabi'in, Sayyidu Tabi'in, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. So they run away from engaging women like this. Many of them, because there are a lot of fitan regarding this. One of the early Muslims, Ubayd, Yunus ibn Ubayd, a tabi'u tabi'i, he told his students, he said, I will warn you regarding three things. One of them, he says, وَلَا تَخْلُوَنَّ أَحْدُكُمْ لَا يَخْلُوَنَّ أَحْدُكُمْ إِمْرَأَةً يَقْرَأُ عَلَيْهَا الْقُرْآنِ. Let no one amongst you stay in a privacy with a woman reading Quran to her. If you read Quran to her and she has to read the Quran to you, you will have problems. You will have problems. Even if she's veiled when the two of you are there. Even if she's veiled when the two of you are there, your heart, your soul will weigh down gradually until it will die out. Because you'll be listening to her every day. Her voice, because of the nature of having to read the Quran with a sweet voice. It says, زَيِّنُ الْقُرْآنَ بِمَاذَا بِأَصْوَاتِكُمْ. Beautify your voice when you read the Quran. So when she beautifies her voice when she's reading the Quran, you are the one listening. What will be happening to you in your mind? Perhaps the first day you say ha, second day ha, and then gradually you become boxed down. May Allah protect us. Because what Allah says that ذَلِكَ أَطْهَارُ لِقُلُوبِكُمْ وَقُلُوبِهِنَّ makes us understand that when a man talks to a woman easily and she talks to her easily, the heart may begin to go down. The mind will begin to run down. And your iman will begin to run down. May Allah protect us. Her own too will begin to run down. And as he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, لا يخلون أحدكم امرأة إلا الشيطان ثالثهما. There is no two of you, none of you stays alone with a woman in a place, except that the third of them is who? Shaitan. So Shaitan will beautify her to you, and he will beautify you to her. So and then so many things that Allah knows best will happen. So the people should avoid it as much as possible. Sheikh Muqbil Al-Wadi'i was asked the same question, and that is the same answer that he gave. He said it is allowed for men to teach women. Then he warned the circumstance where they will be teaching women, they should be careful about it. They should be very, very careful about it. If they can avoid it, it is better for them. In fact, because what we should know have levels in Islam and rulings. that a person understands the meaning of La ilaha illallah, that a person knows how to perform salah, that a person knows how to perform some fast, that a person knows these basic rulings. It's not like knowing the rulings of tijara. Because salah, you must pray, but not every person is a tajir. La ilaha illallah, that makes you a Muslim. You must understand it. So in the basic things that the Muslim must know, those are the times that you begin to say there is barura of the death of teachers. There's the difficulty as a result of unavailability of teachers. So a woman could learn from a man with conditions as explained earlier. Even those ones, when you don't find a woman to teach a woman. Otherwise, I always say this, it is not obligatory for every Muslim to memorize the Quran. It is not obligatory. It is not obligatory for every Muslim to memorize the Quran. Even amongst the shurut of being a mufti, yes, people like Al-Imam Ibn Jawzi, they say that it is obligatory. People like Al-Imam Al-Muzaffar As-Sam'ani, he says a mufti must memorize the Quran. But Jamahir al-Fuqaha wal-Muhaddithun, as Shaykh Mashhur Hassan al-Salman mentioned in his Sharh Al-Waraqat by Al-Imam Al-Juwayni, he said the large majority of the scholars of Usul al-Fiqh and Hadith, they say that it is not obligatory for even a mufti to be a hafiz of Quran. Not only him, others too mentioned it among the scholars of Usul. From amongst them, Al-Imam Al-Ghazali. Once I read a brother discussing on the net about the shart for a mufti to memorize the Quran. And he tried to push it to obligatory, to an obligation. He can't find an evidence. So, not to talk of a woman who wants to live under a man as a wife. It's not obligatory for her. If she memorizes it, good. But there are some things that are obligatory for her to know. That if she does not know them, to spend time to start memorizing the Quran is like spending time to study for JAM when you are in the primary school. So a woman doesn't know how to pray. She's a qari'ah of Quran. She doesn't know how to perform salah. She doesn't know how to make tahara. And she is qari of Quran. She does not know simple adab of Islam. She's qari of Quran. How is that? مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار. Himar, the donkey, is used as an example of a fool and an ignorant person. Essentially, the basic ruling of the donkey, when you say somebody is a donkey, you are describing his level of ignorance. But when a person becomes learned and does not apply or cannot apply the knowledge, so you see, the foolishness is still there because Allah says kamasalil himar, although it is carrying a body. That is why Imam Ibn Jawzi in Sayyid al-Khatir, he said it is worse for such individuals because he's still ignorant, but he's carrying the burden of books, but it is still ignorant. The books are on his head, that's the burden. The burden of going to learn every morning, memorizing, this, that, is on his head, and yet he's ignorant. So the one who has not suffered like her, and she, yes, is just a donkey, but it's not carrying any burden. One donkey is carrying a burden, the other donkey is not carrying anything. So it is real khasara. First thing first. One of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, he reported this hadith in Sunan Ibn Majah, I think hadith 69 or so, that when they came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were young people. He says, فَتَعَلَّمْنَا الْإِيمَانَ قَبْلَ الْقُرْآنِ. So we learned Iman first. We learned Sunnah first before we learned Quran. He says, ثُمَّ تَعَلَّمْنَا الْقُرْآنِ. After that, we now learned the Quran. فَازْدَدْنَا إِيمَانًا. Then with the Quran now coming after we learned Iman, our Iman got what? Increased. Huzayf ibn al-Yaman, Abdullah ibn Umar, and others amongst the companions, they used to abuse people they referred to as Qurra. See, the problem with you Qurra these days is that you are learning the Quran before learning Sunnah. And that's why you see أكثر منافقي أمتي قراءها. Many of the people have this Quran. If you see some of them behave, sometimes you find it very funny. We must learn first thing first. The first thing to learn, like Al-Imam Ibn Abdul-Barri mentioned in Jami'u Bayan al-Ilm wa Fadlihi, the first thing for the Muslim to learn is Al-Iman wal-Islam, or Al-Islam wal-Iman. The first thing for us to learn, what is Islam? Jibril came and asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Go, we learn it as he asked. What is Iman? We learn it as he asked. And then we start learning other details of the deen. As we learn that, we learn Quran. How to read Quran from Mus'haf. Ulama say if the Muft, when he knows where the ayah with which he will give a fatwa is in the Quran, he can open it. The ayah is here. So when we as Muslims leave all these basics, we go and start from Hifzul Quran. How is that? So the person will memorize Quran and all the fiqh will still be with him. May Allah protect us. A lot of Qur'an. I've given this example once. One of our brothers down there, or up there, he was coming from Salatul Subhi, and he saw a young Hausa boy smoking Indian hemp. That one was telling him, Ustaz, Salaam Alaikum. He didn't answer. Salaam Alaikum, he didn't answer. That one went and said, you are not answering me. You think I don't know Quran? If you sit down now, I will read the entirety of Baqarah to you from my head. And here is he with what he is doing. And he has not performed Salatul Subhi because they were just returning from the masjid. And he is Hafiz of Quran. It is not, the Quran is not the beginning of learning Islam. The beginning of learning Islam is to learn Tawheed. Then learn Salah, how do you pray? You learn fasting, how do I fast? Learning means you know what you do in each circumstance with the evidence for it. You learn what you do in each circumstance and the proof for it. Because knowledge is ma'rifah to shay'i bidalilihi or ma'adalihi. You know a thing with its proof. How many of us here can describe Salah from the beginning to the end with the hadith that justifies it? That Allahu Akbar, when we start Salah, we must say Allahu Akbar. Where do you find that proof? He says, Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik tabarak asmuk wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. Aw Allahumma rabba Jibreel. Which hadith is that? Who reported the hadith? Where is it? So that as you are praying, you are also remembering the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are remembering the companions who reported the hadith. You are remembering where the hadith is, the masadir. That salah will be a salah with life. It will have life. So then, when you now memorize the Quran upon that, you will read the Quran and then you'll be able to cry. It's been long I heard that. Somebody reading Quran and crying. It's rare now. Our own eyes are dry. Because sins dry the eyes. Sins, they dry the tears of taqwa and khashiyatullah. Sins dry it up. The heart What did he say even about Banu Israel when they hear Quran? He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ إِذَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ يَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ سُجَّدًا. What did he say after that? In the end of Isra, it says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Those, the Jews and the Christians who were living in Medina, who became Muslims, people like Abdullah ibn Salam, people like Salman al-Faris, when they hear the Quran, what did he say? يَبُكُونَ وَيَزِيدُهُمْ خُشُوعًا. Christians who became Muslims, when they hear the Quran, يَبُكُونَ. Allah say يَبُكُونَ, they cry. Not only that, وَيَزِيدُهُمْ خُشُوعًا. It will increase their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Anfal, he says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. So these things are not common now because the man does not know Iman. He doesn't know anything, just reading the Quran. And I've always said this, Yorubas don't know Quran. We do not know Quran because our Malame, they have not explained Quran to us. Yoruba scholars have not explained Quran to the Yoruba people. Their people don't know Quran. Forget about their tabajujat bil lugha arabiyya. Forget about that. Somebody may be Sivawe and he still finds it difficult to understand what Allah is saying in a verse of Quran. I tell you this. I tell you this. So many times the average Yoruba man doesn't know Quran. He doesn't know what Allah is saying. So even when you read the Quran, he doesn't know. He can't even listen to one. I say it. Malam, the Shaykh in Lagos who passed away, Adam Al-Ilahi, is about the most popular Yoruba scholar in Nigeria. In fact, in the history of Yoruba land, about the most popular and well-known. And he wrote a lot of books in Arabic. If you meet the scholars in other parts of Nigeria, you will know what I'm saying. They will always ask you about this man and the students of this man. They give him a lot of respect. But how did he attain that? Quran. He paid attention to Quran and he was explaining Quran to the Yoruba race. Is it not? And that's what he said, alayhi salatu wasalam. Inna Allah la yarfa'u bihadha al-kitabi aqwaman wa yadha'u bihi akharin. Allah with this book will raise some people and with the same book he will bring them down. Yorubas don't know Quran and that's why in the north, those who have a say amongst the scholars in the north are those who explain the Quran to the people. If you listen to 5 Hausa men listening to the cassette, 2 of them are listening to Malam Jafar Mahmoud. If you listen to 5 and they listen to the cassette a lot, 3 or 2 out of 5 are listening to the tafsir of Malam Jafar. So at least they can understand what Allah says. What did Allah raise the Prophet to tell us about? Which message? Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu. What is the risala given to the Prophet Muhammad? What is it? Quran. So if a Malam will tell the people about the message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what will he explain to them? Yorubas don't explain Quran until Ramadan. And in that Ramadan, it is Olubaweto, the sponsor of the program, that takes half of the time. But to say this is a learned person, versed in the sciences of the Quran, sitting down to explain Quran to Yoruba people, if you know one, tell us now, let's know it. Let's know him. Very rare. Very rare. The average taxi driver in Kano is listening to the Quran in tafsir. I tell you, even Wakada. Rather, they are listening to Quran. Must the person memorize the Quran to know Quran? To know what Allah is saying in it? So So all you find them do is, this one is not that. Come out and explain the book of Allah to the people. You hardly find Yoruba people doing this. There are places in the north, every Friday there's tafsir. Everybody comes with his Quran. In fact, there is a malam that I know near where I live, Malam Garkawi. If you every Friday you listen to tafsir of Quran, and some of those sitting in front of him, I tell you, they can read all the riwayat and qira'at of Quran. Yes, they are listening to a more learned person explaining the Quran. So the Jews, the sitting will be sitting of Quran. يَتَدَارَسُونَهُ فِي مَا بَيْنَهُمْ. Didn't the Prophet tell us that, alayhi salatu wasalam? What is tadarus? يَتَدَارَسُونَهُ فِي مَا بَيْنَهُمْ. They are learning, mutually explaining the Quran to themselves, amongst themselves in the masjid of Allah. Do we have this? Very rare if you have. So we should pay attention to explaining the Quran to people. Yoruba scholars should pay attention to explaining the Quran to people. The Quran is the message of Allah that He gave to the Prophet Muhammad. And the scholars are the people who inherited the knowledge that the Prophet ﷺ has brought. They are the ones to also do the job. Sometimes when I hear perhaps a person of Jama'at Tabligh, he stands up in the masjid, he says, "Oh, so let's go and explain." I say, what do you want to go and explain to the people? Which verse of Quran? Balighu anni walau ayah. Which ayah do you want to explain? Which ayah do you want to explain? The ayah that I should come out and go out? No. Which one will I sit down and hear from you as they sat down and hear from the head from the Prophet Muhammad explaining the meaning of the Quran? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All of us know this Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And he'll be speaking in Yoruba language. This is the meaning of Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The Prophet said this, alayhi salatu wasalam, about Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. This is the meaning of Ar-Rahman. This is the meaning of Ar-Rahim. These are the implications. After we know the meaning, how do we benefit from the Rahmaniyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? All of these things gradually will implant the fear of Allah in the minds of people and respect for the word of Allah. You hardly find Yorubas doing this. He doesn't need to be a Sibaway to do that. He doesn't need to. Worse still, most of our people who go to Madaris Nizamiya, the madrasa established Madaris, they are very poor at reciting Quran these days. Find out. They pay a lot of attention to grammar today. Yes, it is good, but they are support for something. If something that is a support for something is even now giving attention to that very thing for which other things are supposed to be support for, pay attention to auxiliary and forget the substance. The substance is the Quran. The Quran. Yoruba scholars should explain the Quran to Yoruba. May Allah make things easy for us. Women should be careful about learning Quran from men, generally speaking. Look for a woman that can teach you. And the basic thing on each and every one of us, we must know the basic things Islam has come with. We must know our Tawheed. We must know Salah. You must know Tahara. How do I prepare myself for Ibadah? We must understand all these things in the basic details. These are the basic things we are asked to learn. If the man now wants to become a scholar, that's another thing. It's another journey altogether. Or is it not another journey? We all obtain BScs, MScs, but the one who wants to become professor, from the time that he obtained a master's degree, he starts writing papers and doing research-based works. They are all different journeys. So somebody after learning the general basics, he wants to be scholar. That is something else. But how can you want to claim scholarship on the basics It has not gone round. So may Allah protect us. May Allah make things easy for us. Yoruba scholars should explain the Quran to Yoruba people. It will agitate Iman in them. It will bring Iman in them. It will make them more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And any person who does that, Allah will raise him amongst them. Any person amongst them who does that, Allah will raise him above the rest of the people. May Allah make things easy for us. The question was, can a man teach Quran to women? And I think we got our answer, inshallah. These issues have been discussed. A woman who has not married, she wants to travel to learn. What does Islam say about this? Note, none of her relatives is ready to go with her. Will she stay at home and remain ignorant, or travel without mahram? Schooling as an example. Don't come back and then go and start saying one malam say people should not go to school. You know, people draw funny conclusions from responses. You're asking me now, if I want to go to school, I don't have a mahram. How do I do it? Because everything has its place in Islam. So if they give you the place where it will become, I say, oh, one malam say this for women. Nobody will tell you that. Nobody will say that to you. No reasonable person will tell you that. Because, and I say this a lot, going to school does not necessarily mean being knowledgeable. Many go to school, but they are not knowledgeable. If you put your child there, when we put our children there, we must still ensure that knowledge is imparted. When our children are in the schools, we must still ensure that knowledge is imparted. If you are in a higher institution, you must make sure you are learning. University will not tell you to learn. The man will just come write 2-3 things on the board and go away. Is it not? You are the one that must ensure that, oh boy, am I learning? Even if you pass the exam. That is what differentiates the brilliant student from the non-brilliant student. The one who will sit down and say, what have we learned today? And then he will adjust it on. Read off. The other one will say, he just wrote 1, 2, 3 on the board, that's all. He's waiting for 1, 2, 3 in exam. The other one read up to 5 and 6. So when the exam come upon 3, 4, 5, he has edge from 4 and 5 over the one who stopped reading at 3, where the lecturer stopped. So we must ensure that we are learning. It is not compulsory for a woman who is in Oshobo to go to UI. There are universities here in Oshobo, 3 now. Go. There is Osho State University. There is Fountain. And which one again? Open University. So it's not compulsory you go to UI. You can do it here. You don't need mahram to go to Agumbelewu, or where is it? Okay, vale. You don't need mahram. Within reach. You don't have to go to Usman Danfodio. There is your shoe here. It suffices as a reason. They ask you, why didn't you go to Usman Danfodio? In Usman Danfodio, I will need mahram. In Osho University, I will not need mahram. Suffices. So we don't have to create a problem out of that. We don't have to. If you know, you believe you must not travel without a mahram, and you must not actually travel without a mahram, then go to a school where you don't need to travel with a mahram. If you are another, go to Ede Poly, go and take HND there. After HND, do computer online course. There are even free universities online now, free, MREE, from UK. There is what they call the People's University. Go to the net, browse it, I tell you. There's hardly any course you want to do as a woman, you will not see there. These are me, all you see. And your certificate will come from Ori Okeoko, UK. What else do you want? You will sit down, you will learn. In fact, it is easier in our own world now than it was before. There are women working from home. There are architects, women, doing computer-aided CAD diagrams. They draw it, their husband get the job, bring it, they do it, they send it back. Even in other developed countries. What you need to do is enable yourself. Enable yourself. Enable in this big wide world now becoming a small village. Big wide world, but a small village. You don't see www they wrote there. Go? But it's one small village. It depends on how you empower yourself. So not having mahram is not an impediment to go to school if you have to. May Allah make things easy for us. It's easy. And the issue of ikhtilat, the men with mixing with women, your online university will solve that problem for you. I always tell the people, better your English language if you are doing English language based course. If you are doing Arabic based course, better your Arabic. Better your means of communication. Knowledge can be transferred to you in the language of that knowledge. So if it is an English, somebody doesn't know English well, they send her handouts from UK. If she read it, she'll be understanding opposite what they wrote there. So I give a lot of emphasis to understanding the language of the knowledge you are seeking. If some graduates write letters for you now, you lie them down and flog them. I tell you this. Go copper, I'm copper. Tell you, write your name here. Let's see, her name or his name. Because some people still start writing their names with small letters. Don't be surprised. I've seen it before. I'm not conceptualizing. And when they write a formal letter, they still write with small. They start with small letters. They write the topic of the formal letter with a small letter. They start writing with small letters. Or they mix up small letters and the capital letter. These things happen, and they should not happen. So we should enable ourselves and enable our children. The world is moving fast, like I've always said. The one who wants to remain behind is the one who kept himself or herself behind. Like he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, Man batta'a bihi amaluhu lam yakun liyasra' bihi nasabuhu. The one who deliberately keeps his handwork keeps him behind. His family lineage will not push him forward. If your handwork push you back, your lineage, I am the son of so will not push you forward. Your work push you back. May Allah make it is in everything that we do, not only in the matters of deen. Man batta'a bihi amaluhu lam yakun liyasra' bihi nasabuhu. So let's enable ourselves. Let's enable ourselves and learn. There are so many ways of learning today. So many. May Allah make things easy for us. Okay. This must be a female question. Is it allowed to drill more than one hole on the ear for earrings? How about 16 earrings on the nostrils? Well, things like this, ulama say, as long as they don't bring harm to you, it's allowed. Things like this, as long as you don't get harmed as a result. For example, somebody says in your eye now, when you did something, like the glasses they fix now, lenses. Do you know girls now fix lenses? The white on the eye. Is that the retina? The white side of the eye. What do you call it? The cornea. They fix lenses on it. On the black one, sorry. On the black one, or both even. Yes, contact lenses. That's what I mean. They fix it right inside. Some of them are just by way of being, judicious. Otherwise, there is nothing around that. But I learned that it breaks inside the eyes. So don't do that, because I know somebody who is like that. She did it, it got broken in the eye. So don't do that what will bring harm to you. Inna Allah kana bikum rahima. Allah is merciful to you. Why do you want to harm yourself? So accept things like that. Otherwise, and then the one that seeks long eyelashes. So people should be careful about things like this. The eye is not a play place. The Prophet ﷺ has taught us to use the ismid. He says, alaykum bil ismid. He says, make use of the ismid. He says, it brightens the eye. So if you want your eyes to be bright, use the ismid. But that ismid, you must make sure it is not containing lead. Because sometimes people add lead to it. How do you know? And lead is poisonous. It can blind the eye. Yes, immediately. It's very radioactive element. Because black lead will be something around the sulfides of lead. So don't use that. How do you know then the difference between kohl that is useful and the one that lead has been added to it? You dip it in the water. The one that has lead will go down the water because of its density. But if it is ismid, it will remain on top. So when you pour kohl in the water and it goes down, you know it is lead. You can't use it. Test it before using it for the sake of Allah. So when you test and you find that it is real ismid, apply it. Al-Imām At-Tibyān in Ash-Shamā'īl Muhammadiyya brought a lot of ahadith on this from the Prophet Muhammad. Anas ibn Malik, Abdullah ibn Abbas, and the rest of them, Abu Hurairah. They brought hadith. The Prophet ﷺ used it a lot. He said 3 times on the right eye, 3 times on the left eye. He applied it most of the times before he slept. He says it will brighten your eye. So let's use that for the eye. And then you still have the sticks you can use to rub on your face. It's allowed. In fact, it is from the Sunnah. Because Al-Imam Ibn Sa'd in At-Tabaqat mentioned Asar that Aisha radiallahu anha used to do that on her face. What you can call makeup today. Radiallahu anha. Radiallahu anha. Because some of our sisters could think when you make up her, dunya has carried you. Make up. For you it is akhirah, you stick with it. So these are things that are allowed. When they don't bring harm and they don't permanently change your nature, such as what they now call lightening creams. Lightening creams, na lie. Lightening creams, brightening creams, they are still bleaching creams. Lightening, brightening, sun protecting creams, they are all various forms of bleaching. In fact, those ones they refer to as sun protector are worse because they cause cancer of the skin. I'm not just telling you, when you go back, go and search, read about it. The ones they call skin protector, that they say, no, I'm just protecting my skin. You are bleaching and you are susceptible to skin cancer. So be as natural as possible. There are oils that you can use, like coconut oil. It freshens the skin of a person, male or female. Coconut oil, Yorubas refer to it as adiagba. They freshen your skin. So if you are inside the house and you use adiagba, you can use perfume. There are smart collection perfumes. They are not so expensive, but they are very cheap. They're nice, I tell you. For women, because from the Sunnah is that women also use perfume. In fact, in Ash-Shamā'īl Muhammadiyya, a man used the perfume for women, and the Prophet was annoyed with him that he's using the female's perfume. What is the difference between the two? The female's perfume has the color, but the smell is light, while the male's perfume has a wide, harassing smell, while the color is what? Khafif, light colored, but bright and outspoken in its smell. For males, the opposite for females. So it is from the sunnah too that women use their perfumes inside their houses. And when they want to go out of their houses, they wash it off. Or the day they know that they are going out, they never use it at all throughout that day. When you come back to the house, have a nice bath, rub your adiagba again, and then you blow it up with your nice perfume. Likewise, Ori, yes, Ori brightens the skin. You don't need to just use rub Ori. When Afa comes, if he sees the skin, he will say Allahu Akbar. So you don't need, I'm saying this because I have to give you an alternative. Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Husayni, he said in matters like this, when you say so is haram, you must tell us what then is the halal alternative. Likewise your hair, employ adiagba well on it. When you wash it, employ adiagba. You have nice soft hair with adiagba. If you can't find adiagba, zaytun is readily available. The Prophet even encouraged us to rub zaytun on our body, alayhi salatu wassalam. He says, Kullu zayta waddahinu biha, alayhi salatu wassalam. And Imam Al-Tirmidhi mentioned it in ash-Shamā'īl al-Muhammadiyah. The Kullu zayt, eat with zaytun oil. This is evidence. You can fry your plantain with it. You can fry eggs with zaytun. He says, فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ alayhi salatu wassalam. He said, because it is from a tree that Allah has blessed. What is that tree? Zaytun. Allah swore with it in the Quran. Watini was zaytun. So it is sacred. So if you can't have uri, you can't have adiagma, you can always have zaytun. All of what I have described with the first two, zaytun too can do it. There are other things people mix up. If you add aloe vera to some of these things, you have better results. Aloe vera oil, especially for the hair. And there are ways of even using eggs. They know it better. Anyway, so they should find out alternatives. There are alternatives of beautifying oneself, because you cannot disconnect a woman from beauty. She must beautify herself. Allah said that. أَوَ مَنْ يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ وَهِيَ فِي الْخِصَامِ غَيْرُ مُبِينٍ. A woman that is brought up inside hilya, adornment, she must adorn herself. وَخَيْرُ الْأُمُورِ أَوْسَطُهَا. In our religion, the best of affairs are the middle course. We should not go overboard regarding that also. May Allah make this easy for us. One way of maintaining your beauty is to keep clean all the time. Have your bath regularly. Not necessarily morning and evening. Regularly. I say regularly. When a woman has her bath regularly and use these things regularly, you will see how she will be. Many women don't have their bath regularly, and it's not proper. The early Muslims were not like that. The wife of Abu Nāsir al-Ghifari came one day to the house of the Prophet Muhammad. This hadith is in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Aisha radiallahu anha and the rest of the women were telling her, you are not dressing up. Why are you like this, haggard? This is evidence, ulama say this is evidence that at that time, women also will look at you, you not dress me. She said she's not dressing up because her husband does not have time for her. The women went to report to the Prophet Muhammad. The wife of so, she's not dressing up. And we asked her, she said that because her husband does not have time for her. The woman said in the night, he's making qiyamul layl, alhamdulillah, baqaratuna, in one night, and in the afternoon he's fasting. So he doesn't have time to look at whether how is she looking. And the Prophet invited him alayhi salatu wasalam and taught him what to do. The point of reference is that women must have time for that. In our place where we come from, they call it kayan kwaliko, kayan kwaleane, kwalea, kayan kwalea. Kaya means eru in your own language, load, commodities, equipment. Walia from kuhul, the kaya that a woman employs to keep herself good looking. What I'm saying is that when Aisha radiallahu anha and the rest of the women in the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw that that woman was not properly dressed, they protested. Are you not dressed well? Meaning that a woman must always dress well. But Yoruba women have a way of inverting the whole thing. They don't dress well inside the house, but when they are going out, they dress well. See them wearing lace and kara when they are going out. Inside the house, they tie wrapper. It's not proper. It should be the other way around. Dress well, the best, when you are in the house. When Abu buys a good cloth, he's buying it so that you can wear it, make I see. Let me see. So it's very, very important. Very important. You know, I'm making this emphasis because some of the women will say, when a woman begins to dress so much hard, they say dunya has taken her. That's why. No. The early Muslims were not like that. And they are better than every woman on the earth today. Radiyallahu anhum. Please, is it true that one can perform Salatul Jum'ah anytime between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.? Please explain, because Shaykh Al-Bani Zaria said it. Rahimahullah. Well, it is true not because he said it. It is true because the ahadith on it are authentic. And they are contained in Sahih Bukhari. But things like that, when you do it, you must follow it first. You must precede it with explaining to the people. Let the people know the true state of things before you start doing it. Apart from him, other people are doing it. So, it is not a strange thing. It is correct, inshallah. This person is also asking about piercing the ear, 4 earrings, 5 earrings. You can put 50 there if you like. Alaykum salam alaykum. Okay. He has prayed Jum'ah now. If he prays Jum'ah at 12:30 or 1:45, at 2 o'clock, will he pray Zuhur again? Alaykum salam. He has performed Jum'ah again. If you want to perform Salatul Eid in the mosque, it must be that you don't have a musalla to perform that Salatul Eid, or that there is rain or any other thing preventing you from performing that Salah outside. It can even be outside your mosque like this. So in that circumstance, if you come into the masjid, you perform Tahiyyatul Masjid. You perform because of masjid, not because of Salatul Eid. If you are in Makkah, Medina on the time of Ramadan, because you perform your Salatul Eid inside the masjid, Imma Masjid Haram Makki or Haram Madani, you perform it there. I did that besides one of the scholars, and he approved what I did. And that is the basic rule, to perform Tahiyyatul Masjid. So that those 2 rak'ahs are for the masjid, not for Salatul Eid. Salatul Eid does not have 2 rak'ahs preceding it. Alaykum salam.
It's something that someone brings to us that we don't have the knowledge. So in case we want to tell somebody else, can we have 1 or 2 hadiths?
I'd mentioned the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. Just go to Kitab al-Jum'ah, the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. But you get a fuller explanation in the book Al-Ajwibatul Nafi'ah and As-Ilatil Wafida by Shaykh Al-Albani. He explained it in details in that book. It's a common book, inshallah. Al-As'ilatul Al-Nafi'ah. Al-Ajwibatul Nafi'ah is popular from Shaykh. If Allah permits, when we get to Kitab al-Jum'ah in our book of fiqh, we'll explain in great details. Bi-Ibnillah. Is it necessary to call Afa to name one's child? It is not necessary. Every parent can name his or her his child by himself, because there is no his or her in this case. So every father can name his child. Just stand up, tell us the name. You may not even invite anybody. Do we know that? The ram, once you slaughter the ram, you have fulfilled the right. If you like, call us to come and eat the akiko. If you like, don't call us. If you like, call us, give us a little, keep little. If you like, keep the whole meat for yourself and your family. Lava. Don't call anybody. Lava. Or you slaughter the ram, you do everything and call the people on another day. Because it is not your calling people that is akiko. Akiko is slaughtering the ram. The akiko you are required to perform is what? The slaughtering, not the people. You are the one doing that one by yourself. When you invite people, you want to have the reward of feeding people. That's all. That we eat on the day of akiko is not connected to akiko itself. The only connection between them, if there are, is that it is the meat we slaughtered for a child's akiko that we are eating. Otherwise, the akiko is fulfilled as you slaughter the ram like this. Salam alaikum. You have fulfilled the akiko. The meaning of the akiko is the slaughtering itself, not the food that people came and ate. Some people can say, a brother told me recently, he said, I have money to slaughter the ram, but I don't have money to make akiko. I say, what is akiko? Now, Yorubas are very, very funny in the way they practice their religion. May Allah protect us. They will buy fish, 1 carton, tomato, basket, pepper, half. And they will say they don't have money to slaughter the ram. So instead of slaughtering the ram and leaving that one, they use the money to buy tomato and amala. They will eat the amala and they will leave the ram. Meanwhile, the money with which they did all those things is sufficient to buy mesoro or what are you calling it, and then slaughter the ram. But they will leave the slaughtering because they think that the akiko is the gathering of the people. It's a misconception. The akiko is the slaughter. So if you can't buy oil, you can't buy tomato, you can't buy anything, slaughter for yourself. If you slaughter, you can even give it to brothers without being cooked. Brothers, today's akiko, where I cook, where I kill. I don't have any other things. You may not even explain. When they come, just give them the raw meat. Although the brothers who don't have wives will feel somehow on that day. As they come, just give them the meat. They collect the meat and go. It's okay. If you also choose not to give the meat, it's okay. But don't let it be that you want to rent a tent, you want to rent chair. That is the reason why you can't slaughter a ram. It's a misnomer. The first priority after the mother and the baby are okay, back home, is how to do what? Slaughter the ram. Very important. The slaughtering itself. If they are boys, if they boy, 2 rams. 2 equally looking rams. And if it's a girl, 1 ram. HOS. Ram. 3. Avoid inshallah in a dua. Even if you mean inshallah by way of making tawqid or ta'qid. Avoid inshallah in dua. He says, Udu'u Allah wa antum muqinuna bil ijaba. Where you make supplication, supplicate while knowing for certainty that Allah will answer the dua. So when you start saying inshallah now, we start asking, what do you mean by inshallah? Yorubas do that a lot. They say Allah will do it inshallah. Don't put inshallah. You can say the Bismillah. That's another way. But don't say, avoid inshallah as much as possible. Avoid inshallah. Throughout. Kufur. Throughout the discussion on Sharh As-Sunnah, no. Throughout the discussion on Nawaqid al-Islam, he said, I deliberately refrained from saying the person has become a kafir. That I was saying the person is knocking the doors of kufur. Because mere violating those things does not necessarily and immediately mean kufur. That as soon as he violates it, is a kafir. Because when you say somebody is knocking a door to something, when he enters, he becomes from the people of that place. So he is knocking the door, that is, if the door is open to him, if other conditions of takfir become open to him, he becomes a kafir. But mere violating those things does not immediately turn that person into kafir, into a kafir. I hope the matter is clear. That is one reason for doing that. The second reason for doing that is that Nawaqid al-Islam is to make us know the things that make a person to become a kafir. It's not to say once you go out, anybody you see doing this thing is a kafir. And then to make us understand, like we read in Sharh As-Sunnah of Al-Muzani, he warned us. He says, وَالْإِنْسَاقُ أَنْ تَكْفِيرِ أَهْلِ الْكِبْلَةِ It's common now. Somebody sees a person say kafir, this person's kafir, that's one kafir, this one kafir. And you know what follows that statement? They want to kill the person. May Allah protect us. All those people you see fighting the rest of us, that is what they say. Once they declare somebody a kafir, they kill him. May Allah protect us. So when you cut that, sickness, you hear that sickness of people liking to say, ascribe kufr to people, you will solve the problem some ways. I mean, that's the reason. Those are the reasons. HOS. He's asking that we said some people married up to 74 wives, but 4 at a time. He said, can I recommend? I won't recommend that. How will I recommend? Nobody recommends that. Nobody recommended it to him himself. But I am sure Afars do it, but they won't tell you what they are doing. If you have Imam in this city today, or the one that died, go and ask how many wives he had before he died. If you have any major town, you have an Imam, go and ask that Imam, how many wives did he have before he died? The one that just died in this town, how many did he have? They will keep 4 at one time. But it doesn't mean they can't have, they know how to do it. But at first, they don't explain this one. That's why they put it under the leaf of echo. When they are eating, they'll be picking it from there. So it's not issue of recommendation. Many brothers are still stuck battling with one wife. And those who have 2 are not finding it easy. Then 3, then 4. Then start talking about leaving one and marry another one. It's not easy. Nobody will tell you. It's not issue whether to recommend or don't recommend. Atiku Abu Bakr had 5 wives. This is our Atiku. He left one and remained 4. He himself has not gone up to 70 something. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's not issue of recommend or no recommend. It's not easy. It's not something somebody does easily. May Allah protect us. Alaykum salam. Now, The question is being an afa or an imam an occupation, and should that occupation be encouraged? Use encourage your grammar. Should it be encouraged? That some afars say they should be paid. So if they are not paid, when you gather on the day of your child's akiko or your child's wedding or our parents' demise, they collect money there. Yes, they do it. Even on the day of Arafah at Arafah. What? Yes. On the day of Arafah at Arafah, those afars, they will collect money from their people. And they will warn them that if they don't bring it, their Arafah is hanging. I tell you, I heard it. I'm not thinking it. In fact, that year I was with somebody who is an army officer. He was saying, Bala Ibrahim, are we not going to deal with these people? I said that here is Arafah, there's no dealing with anybody here. They even read Surah Al-Ikhlas, they raised one leg up. Should I tell you the people who did that? Nasfat. And their chief missioner was there. That's 10 years ago, or 11 years ago now. Nasfat. They read Kulu Allah, raised one leg up. And they collected money. I am saying it. They collected dollar, they collected riyal, anything, bring it. When they finished doing that, they now did mobilization for Fountain University. Here, this is your fountain. That year, 11 years ago, they did mobilization for money on Arafah. So, having said that, how does the Imam now cope? The chief missioner. How does he cope financially? Islam has nizam, arrangements. If we engage our imams to the extent that they don't have the time for any other job, necessarily we should pay them. If we engage them to the extent that they don't have any time for any other thing, and wallahi, knowledge is engaging. Brothers, knowledge is engaging. This is perhaps one reason why Yoruba Afars have not found somebody to teach and read the Quran to them. Perhaps they've not found, because it requires time. I tell you this, somebody who will teach the people Quran, I don't mean Tahfiz school, I mean tafsir. And really do it well, he needs time. Wallahi, he needs time. He will sit down firstly, and then he needs money. He will gather the books of tafsir. Today there are books of tafsir that cost as much as 25 to 30,000 naira. There are some that cost more. He will gather them. He will gather Arabic dictionaries. There's no way. After gathering the books of tafsir, he will gather Arabic dictionaries. Then he will gather the books of Sharh of Hadith. Because some of the verses are connected to some ahadith, and you can never explain or understand them until you have gone back to those ahadith. So these masadir must be there with him. That is money to buy them. Then the time to read them, he has to go round. And when he's talking, you will know that this person is going round. Or you will not know, Mala. You will know. You will know this man is going round. He is informed. He knows what he's talking about. You can't expect him to leave the market at 6:30 and do that in the night. He has wives waiting for him. Maybe 2, 3, 4. Yes, because most times people like this, they are prone to marry more than one wife. I tell you. So the wives are waiting. The children are waiting. And the books are waiting. Students are also waiting. When he leaves his store at 6:30 in the evening or Maghrib, what will he do first? وَلِلْجَسَدِهِ عَلَيْهِ حَقُّكُ And his body also has right over him. Where will he start from? And perhaps some people are waiting for him after Isha. If he had been learned before, if he continues like this, he will become ignorant after a short while. If he had been learned before he starts this kind of a program, he goes to the market and comes back 5:30 in the evening, and students are waiting for him after Maghrib or after Isha. Give him 2 years. He will turn back to become ignorant. So as he's teaching, he has to be upgrading knowledge. He has to upgrade knowledge. He has to go to Hajj, he has to go to Umrah to upgrade his Iman. Because if his Iman is not upgraded, what will he pass over to the people? The person who doesn't have a thing, can he give it? Not only that he will upgrade his Iman when he goes for Umrah, he will upgrade his knowledge, because he will meet better learned people. He will see newly published books that he will add to his library. Knowledge is work itself. And professors paid? Professor of law, are they not paid? Those who study our constitution, they say he's a professor of constitutional law. Are they not paid? Tell me the difference between the two. Somebody is struggling to protect the constitution by knowledge. Somebody is struggling to protect the Quran by knowledge. What is the difference? So you pay this one, you leave this one. Those are part of the hypocrisies in our system. You pay this one, you leave this one, and they are both engaged in the spiritual and moral development of the society. Yes, and the Imams even do more. The Imams do more because they come from moral aspects. They will tell you, don't cheat, don't steal the money, don't abuse, don't fight, don't be violent, don't. So they contribute to the society. So why they say the professor of constitutional law constitutes a benefit to society, they don't recognize these people. It's a hypocrisy. So they leave them to go to the market. Leave Professor Simbajo to go to the market as the Afa is going to the market. And let all of us be studying and see who will be able to remain. But why you engage this one and pay him, you leave this one to wander around. Look for what to eat. One or two things will happen. If he is able to feed well, his knowledge may not be sound. If his knowledge is sound, he will suffer poverty. This is how our scholars are. They are either sound and poor, or poor and meek, not sound. It's rare to find a learned person amongst the Muslims that combines between sufficiency, not richness, sufficiency and knowledge. It's rare. We have only few. We have few. And when you pay them, when you provide sustenance, their attention is not divided. Their attention is focused. I met a scholar somebody referred to as a jinn. I asked him face to face, say, how are you able to do what you do? Specifically Sheikh Mashhur Hassan Al-Salman. So I was in his hotel room, so he took me to a restaurant. After we were eating, I asked him, how are you able to write all of these books you do? Right. He said, my brother, I am not spending for what I eat. So all I have to do is buy books and read. I don't have any other business. Books and reading. He was asked, if you die, what will you want Allah to prepare for you in Al-Jannah? He said, books. Sirah. Books. If you know his works, you know what I'm talking about. He was asked, if you die in Al-Qiyamah, what would you like to have to enjoy life in Al-Jannah? Kutub. Books. And there are many examples. Dr. Bashar Awad, he did the checking and editing tahqiq of Tahzib al-Kamal of Al-Hafiz al-Mizzi in 35 volumes. He also did the tahqiq of Siyar wa A'lam al-Nubala by Imām Al-Zahabi in 25 volumes. And then he did the tahqiq of Tariq al-Islam also by Imām Al-Zahabi in 25 volumes. One person. In the Muqaddimah of Tariq al-Islam of Imām Al-Zahabi, that book came out late. So he was explaining why the book came out late. He said the book came out late because his elder brother who was funding him right from his primary school died. He had to now fend for himself to eat and then do the tahqiq. He said, so it's not like before. When I first did all those ones, I was free. All my life is library, books. Ulama give him a laqab. A'lamun nas bi khatt az-zahab. The most learned of human beings about the handwritings of Al-Imam Shamsuddin al-Zahabi. What I'm saying is that when the learned person is free, all he has is to read and teach. He finds things a lot easier. Do you know that was how Al-Imam Al-Bukhari was? Al-Imam Bukhari was not doing anything because he inherited money from his parents. He has sufficient time. So there are scholars like that. So it is easier for the Afa. Nevertheless, when that is not available, he must fend for himself. He must fend for himself. Because if he waits for the people, and Imam Sufyan al-Thawri says, Lawla have is one of those rich, those who combine between wealth and knowledge. Sufyan al-Thawri. So one day his shopkeepers brought money on his table for accounting. He has huge stores. Says, Lawla haza la tamandala bina haula. If not, we say this money, those people will turn us to tissue paper. So when a scholar has some wealth and is learned, honey Allah. Because the other way around these days is tough. If he's not careful, he will be behind. He will not even be able to buy books. And when he can't buy books, he can't read. He will be saying something that people have say, Ustaz, where are you? This matter is long resolved. May Allah make things easy for us. They too, they go for sabbatical. When they go for sabbatical, what do they go to do? To upgrade their knowledge. Who pays for it? Invest. When they are there, they still pay them. Double salary. In the school where he is doing his sabbatical, they pay him there. Here he is, they pay him. And then you say, oh, there is scientific advancement. How will they not advance? But the Christians play that role. They cover that role for their leaders. Somebody was asking, amongst we Muslims, do we have some? I don't want to talk about that. I say, how can you have? You kill them. You brought them down. Because in our own case, go and look at the mosques where they build and employ imams. They don't pay the imams well. Go and ask. They will pay him 25,000. They say, after all, it's Afa. So, the market of Afa is different. You want 2 wives. Afa doesn't want 2 wives. You wear guinea. Afa doesn't wear guinea. No good cap. Malan Jafar Mahmoud one day was talking about the cap he was wearing, 60,000 naira cap, one cap. Yes, 60. Sheikh Jafar Mahmoud, may Allah forgive him. And I learned also from some of his close students that he eats 1 chicken every day. How is that? Khalas. That was like Al-Imām Al-Nasā'i, the one who wrote Sunan Al-Nasā'i. Al-Imām Al-Nasā'i also ate 1 chicken every day. So how will the brain not work? Tell me. The brain will work. The brain will work. The brain will work. You will produce. You have a gen in your house, powered 24 hours. You have cars. Yes, you have air conditioning in your house. You have drivers. That is what they give to professors those days. You want to write something. In the past, ulama had those they called nusakh. Those who write for them. Shaykh Al-Bani had. The one who was writing for Shaykh Al-Bani was Isam Musa Hadi. That's his name. They are, look, I want to write this in copy from here to here for me and bring it to me. They need it too. So they face other things. So, but these days we leave the affairs to themselves. They leave us. Yes. Because what you are running after, they are running after it too. Some of the people will think if they drive Benz Jeep, Alpha should drive Okada. How can you say you drive Benz Jeep? The Jama'ah in the masjid, they are driving Benz Jeep. Imam is driving Okada. How is that? Is this fair? He has wives. His wives are members of the congregation like your own wives. When your own wives wear guinea, the Imam's own should wear staflet. And then your wife begins to say, look at the wives of Imam, they are so dirty. How did he become dirty? On the other way around, if it were non-Muslims, subhanallah. I told you, I mentioned this once. The Imam of this masjid is an old man who leads Salatul Jummah here. One day after we all parked cars here and performed Salatul Jummah, I was leaving, I left late. As I turned to go, I saw the man waiting for Korope. Is it fair? Is it fair? Some of us who pray here are senators, House of Reps, whatever, commissioners, and the rest of us. We all parked cars, double lane, on day of Juma. This place is filled up. We went in our cars. And you'll be telling us, Allah Njayo Yewa O Korosi Yewa. When you'll be saying Ami. When you go out, he's riding Korope, and you'll be saying Ami to his dua. Is it fair? It is one of the reasons it's taking us backwards. It's taking us backwards. It's taking us backwards. May Allah make things easy for us. So we can't say it's an occupation, but it preoccupies. It preoccupies. It really preoccupies. Knowledge. Sometimes you don't like to study anything. You just want to sit down calmly and let the brain cool. Let the brain have some fresh air. You can't afford that if you are in the shop or running after contracts from one office to the other. Today you are in Kaduna, next tomorrow you are in Abuja. How are you going to cope? Knowledge deserves and requires you to settle down. You are settled, so your thoughts will be settled thoughts, and your researches will be in-depth. Therefore, your output too will reflect all of that. But we incapacitate them and then we complain about them. Allah protect us. In this masjid, sometimes even when they gather the money, one is ashamed. This masjid, every day they collect the money. Are you saying we don't have people who can do what the mosque wants to do? What is the mosque doing? This masjid. What will they want to do? They cannot spend 20,000 naira in 1 week. They can't. Can't we have a Muslim who will spend 20,000 naira for this masjid every week? In this Oshobo, 95% Muslim. Other things are propaganda. The Muslims form the large majority here. Apart from this mosque in the middle of the city, where is another mosque where we pray Salatul Jummah? Where? Ojoba. Okay, where again? Ojoba. If we have a Muslim president, he wants to make Salatul Jummah, where will he make it? Ojoba. One pastor came here, your governor gave him 30 million when he was going. Yes, you didn't read it in the papers. I don't know anybody in government. I read it in the papers, general papers. It was in Daily Trust. Pastor. But all the Imam, Tiletoko, Council of Afar, Imam, Tiletoko, they went to do one Quranic competition. When they came back, they gave them 1 million, how many? 2 million. And they start even Allahu Alam with the money. Pastor came, because he came with helicopter, private jet. How much will you pay him to fuel his jet? So when he was going over, it was 30 million. I think we need to rethink where we have placed our imams. We need a rethink. I think selfishness. I have a brother, he tells me, you people that are doing dawah, you people that are doing dawah. One day I went to a program far away, south. It was a Sunday program. I went to that program from Kaduna and I went by road. I did that program on a Sunday. It means I traveled on day one for me. As far as that program is concerned, that is my own day one. I did the program on Sunday. The brother came to me and said, why did I not come on Friday so that I could do the program on Saturday and Sunday? I said, no problem, I can wait till Monday. Do you understand? He said, I know Monday we are going to work. I said, you know me, I don't have work. So I should come here on Friday. That's how we eat our cake and have it. Those are supposed to be the elites, so the so-called elites. He said, why didn't I travel on Friday? You know me, I don't have work. I should travel on Friday, educate him on Saturday, and then Sunday, and then I go back on Monday when he is returning to his office. So I should occupy his own weekend. You know me, I don't have work. So I said, okay, I can wait till Monday. Say, no, Monday, me, I'm going to work. We've been so unfair to the Imam. Frankly, I tell you this. Don't ask what they wear. Don't ask how they feed their families. And many of the people enjoy it like that. The Imam should be back. You call somebody Imam. Like in Taj'aluhu wara Imam Ya Ummuka. He will be in your front. You will be following him. But you make him live like he's behind. When Umar radiallahu anhu saw a fine big cloth, what did he do? He bought it and took it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet, this cloth it go good for Jum'ah, and the days that you have big men visiting you, this Al-Ukimba is good. Wear it. We our own, it is the old one, the one we are not wearing again. That is the one we give the Imam. This bab, if you open it, many of the people will not discuss it. Because when they discuss it, another thing Shaitan will be putting in the minds of people is a fear. They want people, they bring money for them. We don't want. But we can speak on behalf of people. It's really unfair. A lot of people are not fair. You want to take from his knowledge. He was not sleeping day and night to learn. Yes. Sometimes recently somebody sent me one lengthy text message asking me a question. And the brother with evidences, sir. So I will start typing all those evidences like pam. So I should start typing those my evidences. You are there in the corner of your room telling me to type. One of our brothers will stop with this. Abu Hikmah. He said one night around 12:30 he was trying to resolve a matter. He was reading, searching through the books. Somebody called him. So people called. Say, the person Ustaz, how are you fine, sir? Ustaz, I'm trying to sleep. I can't find sleep. I just thought, who can I call? Oh, I just thought to call him. Wallah, ask him. It's not fair. You can't find sleep, so Ustaz should not sleep. Even though most of the times people don't sleep, I tell you this. Most of the times they are lying down on the bed and they have books with them. I tell you. You are lying down on the bed, you still have books. You still have one thing, you still want to check, you want to clarify this, you want to clarify that. Wallahi, knowledge is tasking, especially if you want to be up to date. Very, very tasking. And a lot of people are not fair to them. Frankly. May Allah make things easy for us. Allahu Akbar. Now, alaykum salam. You want to go back to that question again?
I feel like it's my opinion.
Okay.
I agree in studying yes, and yes, you know that's how to do. But I believe from different paradigms.
You spoken grammar, paradigm. What is the meaning? Okay.
And a different way of where I went from our parents of students they invited me that they now ask about you come and teach us. Now when you teach them, they house you are protected. Take care of you. Don't need to work. You are going to take care of you. And teach their body. And you know that's my.
You have not asked the question, no?
Yeah, no. I mean that's the thing is coming here now. The way they are connected, and I know that yes, what help you, but in a place where you find even
leave the infighting amongst ulama. Let's leave that. Let's leave infighting amongst ulama. In fact, when people come into it, they worsen the situation. Leave that infighting. When alim, don't put yourself. Go away from it. It's usually a place of fitna for people. When you come in, you are coming to bring something that is big on your head. Stay clear. It's one area that one should always stay clear. We have this malam quarreling. And when you search personal matters, not deen-based matters, stay clear. So when we intervene, because they deal with themselves on levels that we don't understand. I tell you. They relate to themselves. This one is angry with the other for things that when they explain to us, we may understand. But because we don't, it's like a husband and a wife. Most of the times, when you come in between a man and his wife, the trouble will come back to you. So, if we look at that, we'll be being unfair to them. Two learned persons are in a quarrel. It does not mean that each of them should not have the rights from us to them. That is a different thing altogether. We should not allow that to disturb our dealings with each of them, as the case may be, and then we should avoid coming in between. It's usually, especially in personal matters. Personal disagreements. Let's stay clear. May Allah make this easy for us. Alaykum salam. Now, you say what? In case of? Okay. A matured a male that has not matured can teach a female that has matured. Why? Does it mean that a child, male, that is not matured, you cannot destroy his heart? May Allah protect us. Let's avoid things like this. The best teachers for females are females. That is how to read Quran. There are other aspects of deen. It is not only reading the Quran that Allah told the Prophet to teach us. He says, هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ. What did he say? يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. 4 things. We are always emphasizing one. Yatlu alayhim, tilawa, reading. Yuzakkihim, he will purify them. He will push away dirty thoughts from their minds and dirty characters from their limbs. That is tazkiyah. وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ. He will make tafsir of Quran to them. And the ahkam of Quran. The rulings of the Quran, the stories of the Quran, the lessons of the Quran. He will explain it. يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And then he will teach them the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. What we emphasize today is only tilawa. Al-Imam Fudail ibn Iyad, and then after him Sufyan al-Thawri, they say that umiru بتلاوة القرآن ليعملوا بها فاتخذوا تلاوته عملا. The people were commanded to read the Quran so that they can follow the Quran, but they took the reading itself as the work. When you read it, you expected to follow the reading, but now the reading gaga is the work. So we go to competition, we go to, that is the work now. The sweetest voice. No. That was not the reason for which the Quran was revealed. It says it was revealed لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ وَلِيَتَذَكَّرَ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, he was saying rahimahullah, that to read the Quran, you read one page with tadabbur is better than reading more than that without tadabbur. That is tadabbur, contemplating what you are reading. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. You are reading. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. What is Allah say? What is this? Today we don't have excuse. If you don't know Arabic, there is English Quran translation. If you don't know English, there is Yoruba for you. You can support it to know. May Allah make this easy for us. Alaykum as-salam. World Hijab Day. Today is a celebration. When did it start? This World Hijab Day celebration, 2013. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did women wear hijab in his time? Before 2013, were women wearing hijab in Islam? Why are we starting a new one? New deen. They say it is a way of enlightening the people, Abi. You can do lectures without picking a day. And every day is a day to encourage people about any aspect of the religion. Why specify a day and a time? Another Eid, Eid al-Hijab. We already have Eid al-Hijrah, Abi. Hijrah Day celebration. The same people organize Hijrah Day are the same people organizing Hijab Day. Usually TMC is behind things like this. TMC, Lagos Muslim Congress, they like things like this. As for us, we will suffice what Imām Al-Muzani said when he referred to the companions and their students. He says, لم يرغبوا عن اتباع فيقصروا. لم يرغبوا عن اتباع فيقصروا. ولم يجاوزوه تزيدا فيعتدوا. فصددوا بعون الله ووفقوا. He says, لم يرغبوا عن اتباع فيقصروا. They did not try to seek anything apart from the Sunnah, فيقصروا, which could cause them to be deficient in the Sunnah. If you are looking for another thing apart from the Sunnah, what do? You leave the Sunnah. فيقصروا ولم يجاوزوه, and they did not go beyond it. فيعتدوا, and they go to extremes. It's also prohibited. They did not leave the Sunnah, which could cause them to be deficient upon the Sunnah, and they did not go beyond looking for other than the Sunnah that could make them to go what? Extremes. فَسُدِّدُوا, because of that, they were guided upon the straight path. وَوُفِّقُوا, and they got success. So if we want that, remaining upon the Sunnah, don't start new one. Preach Islam, preach hijab. When you do tafsir of Quran, you get to that place, explain hijab. But to say you pick a day that you are celebrating hijab, it is an innovation. May Allah protect us. TMC, they are known for things like this, and it is very wrong. Very, very wrong. May Allah protect us. I think that will suffice today, inshallah. Cool? Our intention is to, like one of our brothers asked when we were reading Sharh As-Sunnah, I think HOS, that we did not, when we spoke about As-Sa'ah, the day of Qiyamah, we did not discuss Alamat As-Sa'ah. So I said if we branch to Alamat As-Sa'ah, it will be extensive. But we promised then that when we finish Sharh As-Sunnah, we will read a book on Alamat As-Sa'ah, the signs of the last hour. So our next class, bi'idhnillah, next weekend, we'll start with the book Alamat As-Sa'ah by a very respected doctor, Dr. Yusuf Al-Wadi. He titled the book Ashrat As-Sa'ah. Very big book in over 400 pages, about 500 pages. But one of our brothers has gone and summarized the book by only mentioning the points. So we read the point, we explain it. We read the next point like that. And Ashrat As-Sa'ah, the science of the last hour, ulama divide it into two. Inshallah, next week we give full explanation. There are Ashrat As-Sa'ah Al-Kubra and Ashrat As-Sa'ah As-Sugra, the major signs and the minor signs. If you ask, why are you studying Ashrat As-Sa'ah? Jibril asked the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam about Ashrat As-Sa'ah. He says, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنِ السَّاعَةِ. He says, مَا الْمَسْئُولُ عَنْهَا بِأَعْلَمَ مِنَ السَّائِلِ. He says, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنْ أَمَارَاتِهَا. Then tell me the signs. عَنْ أَشْرَاطِهَا. Tell me the signs. So it means, and at the end of the day it says, فَإِنَّهُ جِبْرِيلٌ أَتَاكُمْ يُعَلِّمُكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. It was Jibril, he came to teach you your deen. From that deen is to learn what? Ashrat As-Sa'ah. So inshallah we'll read the book for 4 weeks. In 2 weeks inshallah we'll read Ashrat As-Sa'ah As-Sugra. And in the 2 weeks that will follow bi'idhni Rabbi, we'll read Ashrat As-Sa'ah Al-Kubra, the major signs, like Zuhur Al-Mahdi, issues around Imam Al-Mahdi, Khuruj Al-Masih Al-Dajjal, the emergence of Dajjal, Nuzul Isa alayhi salam, the coming down of Nabi Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, Zuhur Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, the Gog and the Magog as they call them, Ad-Dukhan, the smoke that will come out, Tulu' al-Shams min Maghribiha, the sun rising from its place of set, Khuruj Dabati fil Ard, the coming out of a creature, an amazing creature from the earth, Zuhur al-Nar, التي ظهور النار, the coming out of the fire. التي تحشر الناس, it will gather the people. The fire that who will it gather? All of these inshallah will explain as much as Allah gives us the ability. So in our next class we start with Ashrat al-Sa'a of Yusuf al-Wabil. I think the brother made some copies. He could give us some copies so that as we read, we read. We will mention the ahadith on them inshallah. Bismillah. May Allah make it easy for us. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك آمين